Okay, so when you hear worm farming, you're probably picturing, a little box in the backyard for kitchen scraps, right? But what if I told you it could be a serious, full-scale business? Today, we're going to dive into the blueprint for turning those tiny worms into a real, thriving enterprise.
I mean, it's a bold question, isn't it? An empire on worms? And honestly, the answer is a big yes. But here's the catch. It's not about just, selling worms in a bucket. Real, lasting success, well, that takes a much smarter, more strategic approach.
And that word right there is the key, resilient. We're talking about building a business that can handle whatever the market throws at it and just keeps on growing. To do that, you don't just need a plan, you need a blueprint. And lucky for you, we're about to walk through it step by step.
All right, first things first, let's talk about the 3-in-1 business model. Think of this as the core operating system for your whole operation. It's all about building for resilience and growth, and it's powered by one simple idea: diversification.
So, what exactly is it? Well, at its heart, the 3-in-1 model is just a fancy way of saying, don't put all your eggs in one basket. It's just common sense, right? Instead of banking on just one way to make money, you build 3 different but totally connected streams of revenue.
Okay, so stream number 1 is probably the one you've already thought of: product sales. This is your bread and butter. We're talking about that amazing, high-quality vermicast, which, by the way, is just the technical term for worm castings, and that super potent, concentrated worm tea. These are the foundational products that every single successful worm farm is built on.
Now, the second stream, this is where things get really interesting. It's all about monetizing what you know. See, you're not just a farmer anymore, you're an expert. You can offer waste management consulting to other local businesses, or maybe run some training and educational workshops. And here's a little pro tip for you. Start super local. Like, walk down to the coffee shop on the corner and offer them a free waste audit. Their coffee grounds are literally perfect worm food. And once you have that first success story under your belt, that becomes your best marketing tool, period.
And then there's stream number 3. This is where you really start to maximize your profits. It's all about value-added items. So you take your core product, that awesome vermicast, and you mix it into premium stuff, like specialty potting soils or custom-made blends for, say, orchids or succulents. This lets you charge a much higher price and tap into all those niche markets out there. Okay, so we have our model, but is there actually a market for all this? Let's zoom out for a second and take a look at the global opportunity, because I have a feeling these numbers are going to surprise you.
I mean, it's the obvious question, right? We're talking about worms and dirt. How big could this market possibly be? Seriously, take a guess. Just throw a number out there in your head.
Get ready for this: $3.89 billion with a B. That's the projected market value by 2034. So yeah, this is not some small niche hobby anymore. This is a massive, and I mean massive, growing global market. And it's all being driven by the huge demand for sustainable agriculture and horticulture.
So where is all this growth happening? Well, the numbers show the fastest growing markets are right here in North America and over in the Asia-Pacific region. This tells us there's a clear global demand, and it points directly to where the biggest opportunities are waiting.
But, this isn't just about today's market. It's really about where things are headed. Let's talk about the future and how a simple worm farm can plug right into the new green economy.
Okay, here's where it gets really cool. Carbon credits. What are those? Well, think of them like permits that big companies have to buy to offset their pollution. And because regenerative practices like vermicomposting actually capture and store carbon in the soil, your farm can literally generate and sell these credits. And this isn't just some abstract idea. A single credit can be worth over $50, and a decent-sized farm could generate hundreds of them every year. That's a whole other income stream.
Just think about that for a second. Your farm isn't just a local farm anymore. All of a sudden, it's part of a global solution to climate change. It becomes a business with a real purpose, plugged directly into a massive economic and environmental movement. That's powerful stuff.
Okay, deep breath. We've covered the model, we've looked at the market, we've even peeked into the future. So now let's bring it back home and talk about your plan, how you can turn this blueprint into a reality. It all boils down to 4 simple questions. First, what are you actually going to sell? Products, services, or maybe a mix of both? Second, why does your market need it? What problem are you solving for gardeners, landscapers, or farmers? Third, where will you operate? Are you thinking local, regional, or are you going to sell online? And finally, the big one, When are you going to launch? You got to set a timeline. Answering these 4 questions, that's what turns a cool idea into a real action plan.
Look, you have all the pieces now. You've got the 3-in-1 business model, you've got the market data, and you understand the future potential. It's like having all the pieces of the puzzle laid out on the table. Now, the only thing left to do is to start putting them together.
So really, the final question is pretty simple. We've laid out the entire blueprint for you, a business that's resilient, profitable, and totally future-proof. The opportunity is massive, and it's right there for the taking. The only question is, are you ready to stop just thinking about it and move from theory to action?